Michael rowed the boat ashore, hallelujah. Chills the body, but not the soul, hallelujah. River is deep and the river is wide, hallelujah. Milk and honey, there are no sides, hallelujah. River is deep and the river is wide, hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sails. Michael, you get back there and trim those sails. Welcome to 2018. Milk and honey, there are no sides. Hallelujah. River is deep and the river is wide. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. So I went to Quaker services, kind of hobnobbing there now, and said the prayer, the offering. Put my running shoes, feet, and kind of like pitter patter. See, like my front tooth came out, and it's socially devastating. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. Deters the body, but not the soul. Like an impression of an expression on a still point pond. Body, personality, story, memory, the social, social temperature of the day. Mm-hmm. Chills the body, still point, the impression of an expression upon a still point oceanic pond. With pools and spiros and on and on and on. So, like at 10 minutes, we reside on silence. I felt that it was right for me to speak. Because I've been a few times, and much to my, talkative credit, I haven't, spoken yet. But yeah, 10 moments in silence. And, dissidence and strategies and unwinding and winding. Guy gets up, man gets up, and references the Jordan River. And sings, Jordan River is chilly and cold, hallelujah. Chills the body, but not the soul, hallelujah. Like he looked out because we're together in silence. Like if we're lost, then we are lost together. Just watching the squirrels leaping along the trees. There's a garden. If you want to keep your eyes open. He was more looking out at the garden. It was just so beautiful. I felt really encompassed and that I mattered. Crying, sobbing. Graceful deaths, magnificent rebirths. As the child dies to the womb and is born onto this world. Snake sheds its skin, becomes an infinite, almighty soul in flight, a spirit, all spirit, no body again. Spiraling. A woman shares, it's her, it's at one end, a seamless, like graceful death, magnificent rebirth. It's an end and it's a beginning. And how she knows it's her time to say bye-bye and go. And she has her family cuddling into her, surrounding her. They've come to spend the last few months together. And she just says, you know, that she's like a child at play, but she's really amazed. I wonder why, I wonder why, I wonder. I wonder why, I wonder why. I wonder why, I wonder. So, how much fun she's having. How much fun she's having. Mm-hmm. And another, like, you know, tuning forks, sharing. Well, I love going here because I could, you know, I can get out of some of these energetic straitjackets, this social posturing, this whoring myself for God knows what. God knows what. You know, fanfare, you know, stimulation, love, attention. Attention. Intent, intending, attend, attending, intention, the attendance, the attendance. Remember, remembering, imagine, imagination. Well, just to keep up with the, you know, creative dancing here. Whoa, it's hopping. The house is hopping. Cohort with creation. Father of creation. There ain't no hiding from the Father of creation. One love, one heart. So I told this woman, the one who's exiting, experiencing her final days, and what an experience they had with a roadkill, a raccoon. Fresh roadkill. Killer on the road, tequila hurricane. But I grabbed I wanted to honor its life, and I grabbed a pristine bottle from the recycling bin and poked and prodded it to the side of the curb. Wanted to honor its beingness, like, thank you for coming, and honor its exit. Except, like, when I touched it, this soft electrical orgasmic current ran through me, and I knew death, and death knew me, and it was just irresistible. The most natural, organic state ever that I know. Like, death is a almighty organic orgasm that shall devour each in kind. Softest place to fall, and nobody will want to resist it. So although I speak with the tongues of breatharians and have not love, to take that moment of conception and stretch it out 250 years. Some proclaim, that's evolution, that's the epitome of spirituality. But I'll tell you, when I was hobnobbing and connecting with Archangel Michael, and through, this one was a channeled reading, as I speak to the beyond, and, but this one was a channel paid for reading by a reverend who is a speak-through, or is in relations with non-physical, the brighter side, the soul, who lives in the States. So Archangel Michael comes through, and I know it's him because he's booming And he always ushers himself in with a great big, oh, with a booming laugh. A booming laugh. Greetings, child. Greetings. talking about my dog Sam, that she'd been struck with glaucoma. Got her an upscale operation, to sever the eyes so she's not in pain. But the essence of my dog Sam was a lyncher, and they loved to run. She could scale the park in 30 seconds. She's got tiny ankles like a Giselle. So he says, well, to human beings, Michaela, that to live longer, to stretch it out and yank out that Play-Doh is longevity, but not to angels. Not to angels. Like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Like, dominate or be dominated. Like, prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove my love. I'll prove my prowess. I'll prove my spirituality. Like, I am a great spirit. I've come to pierce the hardness of their preconceptions. Preconceptions, to preform, to prefabricate, to manufacture, to walk, to talk, to function, do it all from the neck up, robotically, automatically, is to function less the heart, to be heartless, to forsake my blood, breasts, and flesh. Love is a higher vision. To stretch, expand, open up my hands to a mighty heart, a higher vision. Letting go of games of death, pretentiousness. Life as a Memorex moment. Freeze frame, still picture. Letting go of games of martyrdom. Conquering. And if there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be right? They say there's these two wolves. Two wolves. One is wise and loving. The other is just a nasty, cranky, poop in the diaper wolf. Poop in the diaper. So if there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be right? It's like, kind of like, well, what if there's 11 wolves? What if there's 11 angles? Where I'm at now is like from the Christ Lord Sananda using his soul name, his thought soul name, that you are enough. Like, nothing needs to be added and nothing needs to be extracted. What about encompassing? I'm the one who encompasses the 2 wolves and the 11 wolves. And it's all good. Like, all that is loves all that is. All that is encompasses all that is. All of me loves all of you. All. All. Like, what if one of the wolves wants to wear, gold and silver, like, titty bells? I mean, what does that cause? What does that create among the wolves? What does that create? Yeah, so just dancing and threading myself through. Of course, capturing it never, that's why to run and get a pen and possess it, because it never stays the same. Doesn't stay the same. Kind of like get a spine, some tentacles and some rays, offshoots. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. River is deep and the river is wide. Hallelujah. Milk and honey, there are no sides. Hallelujah. Chills the body but not the soul. Hallelujah. But yeah, it's just a really magnificent service, and hanging out after for, non-gluten brownies with walnuts and people. And I know all the games you play because I play them too. And I know all the games you play because I play them too. I spy with my little brown, gray, and hazel eyes. I spy. Let's see, like this download from Pan is really amazing. Just sat like in such still point energy, writing down that the flower once lushed about my tooth. Once lush, the flower so lush, and all the other flowers want to court her. Many, like enough. And now the flower, has got a hanged head, a little hanged head. And the flower is kind of getting some brown on her. It's sort of like the moisture, kind of getting a little dehydrated. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. And it says, where, does the flower have a measuring tape? Does it have a little calculator? Is the flower weirded out and fretting about what the other flowers are thinking? And if so, are the other flowers thinking that? Or am I, thinking that you're thinking that? So close, slap, put an ice cube on it, the heart, the central core, the spine, put an ice cube on it. Fuck yeah. Put an ice cube on it. True love, I got lots, keep it hiding, keep it on ice. Too busy, preoccupied, doing it right. Terror, I stand here trembling. I've a trip to go on, seemingly chillingly alone. A trip, a journey to me. It'll get colder, darker, fewer people out walking. So what? Feeble protests of terror. So what? I don't give a flying fuck or no flippy dick. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. Milk and honey, there are no sides. Hallelujah. Michael rode boat ashore. Sister rode the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, get in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Shh. 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 And if there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be right? Good, bad, right, wrong, beautiful, ugly. I want it. I want it. Don't want it. Don't want it. God bar, satanic sandwich. God bar, satanic sandwich. God bar, satanic sandwich. You think someone who's indoctrinated with religion and then love God, reject Satan, and then they do a little change, love Satan, reject God. You think they've changed? Or are they still dancing in the same electromagnetism, the same bondage? Well, clearly some change has occurred, but yeah, not enough for freedom, not enough for consciousness. But yeah, what would you do if you had all world power? What would you look like? Perfect. Clean little puppy. Never coloring outside the lines. No, never. I do like what someone, don't imagine that in the time of the Holocaust, you'd be a hero. I don't even fancy that. Don't even fancy that a little too much. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, and then we were playing with Pan. Well, it's so such an absolution of life. However, it feels like that is the innate states, and those are the states of death. But it feels like, and in this moment of a shooting star, somehow it all makes sense. You know, death states, like the enchanted, in the living in the interiors of the enchanted forest, death state. Mm-hmm. That's what, like, we can know death. Like, I knew death and death knew me. You know death. You may not think you know death, but I'm here to tell you, you know death, and death knows you. Mm-hmm. But it's not about, like, in between these two poles, you know, like, I love life, you know, the going for life or going for death. Love has nothing to do with it. The still point energy, nothing to do with it. No, nothing. Like, what flower is concerned about death? What dog or chicken is concerned about death or life? Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. God is a concept by which we measure our pain. God is a concept by which we measure our pain. I'll say it again. This beautiful creature freak Johnny S. and Lennon states. Mm-hmm. So just that it's all, like, the true meditation is coming, like, relinquishing the egoic complex, whatever you want to call it, the intellectualism, the program, the training wheels, of which I believe I am, acquiescing, like, relinquishing them and dropping, you know, dropping into the still point, the light, of which I am. Mm. But Pan was seeing, because the thing is, you know, you will leave where you left off. You will begin where you left off. Death, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm to tell, you see that bad little puppy over there. It's like having, you know, fame and vainglory, like doing things I don't preference. Like, they will begin where they left off. Also, because it scares me, you know, the whole thing scares me, so it's like, throw it like a grenade at someone else. Projection. Like, you going to get it, you bad little puppy. You're going to get it. Mm-hmm. But Pan was deconstructing that for me, and the spine is Pan, you know, the windpipes of Pan, of which I've heard a few times etherically. The Pan is where panic is derived from Pan. And he says to Rock in the Thin Horn Garden, when Rock awakens and sees interdimensionally, what is called interdimensionally. And he says, do I scare you? Do I scare you? Like, do you find me ugly? Do you find me ugly, my friend? Do you find me ugly? And he goes on to say, you know, how the church was afraid of him and what they created by way of that fear. And panic, like panic. But panic means all that is and everywhere all at once. Pan is us. Pan is us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that Pan, my mind was saying, well, I'm not getting a hike here, you know, I'm not getting, like, you know, brain light up. It's kind of like, sitting with Pan is great. It was a little, like, boring. So he wrote those things out too. And it's just like, yeah, he wrote it. It's like, it's so I would be able to read it in the morning. Like, I usually race, to keep up with the pen, of which I can't. I can't. But yeah, he's saying, well, grace. He goes, but, like, or Abraham Hicks put out about Hitler. And ultimately they said, like, a mother, well, maybe next time, Johnny will do better. and it's like, no, if I'm in some states, I could be with it. But in other states, it's like, okay, there's no fucking way. He's going to croak. Of course, it's going to be good. No bad puppy section in heaven. Then when he comes back onto the planet via the morphic fields, where memory is kept, he's going to have to, have a very hard life and get good. He's going to have a very hard life and get good. So Pan is putting all that down on paper, like, and he's saying, but it's like, why do you believe? It's from the Christ letters. You'll begin where you left off. Go, well, Christ said it. It's like, but no. Why do I believe it? I believe that, Pan, because it makes sense. And then he questions, logic, reason versus understanding versus grace. Freely given, freely received. That God doesn't keep, bad puppy records. Not electromagnetically, not on paper, not by measuring tapes or calculators. Doesn't exist. Only exists to the human condition, which believes it needs, bad puppy training. Or somebody needs bad puppy training. And then it's like, well, that's it. Like, he comes here and he, creates all this mischief. And then Grace says, virginal snow, virginal snow. Enter in on virginal snow. Enter in. So that was, there's a lot of sharing from Pan. But in the distance of being away from him, because those are the organic states, those are the states we take for granted, as I'm stomping upon Mother Earth. And so, but in stepping back, just, how, like, to be with him in those states is just so illumined, and how, he's just everything. How could I say one thing about Pan? Because he's everything. Like, he's everything all at once. But this is a very, very cool way to live. Holy communion between, like, I am spirit, wedding matter, doing the cross of space, of time, both of which are an illusion. Talk about issues, yeah. Chills the body, but not the soul. So, new plate I'll be needing. Oh, God. Drama. Well, I kind of went from one extreme to the other, But yeah, it's kind of like, that happens to some of us here. We might be in a fire, and then our faces become fire-stricken, They look withered and dehydrated and strange, the face, or the back, or the arm. Of course, there's, there's use of, anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to stay. But I've seen that happen to a woman who had been a top model. And she, during her, her bathing ritual, she spilt rubbing alcohol on herself, and was running the tub, and thought, well, no biggie, I'll just like wash it off in the tub, and then she lit a cigarette and became burnt. A burn victim. Kills the body, but not the soul. But yeah, I mean, she was just one of the most beautiful women that I've yet to meet. Mm-hmm. Who really understood, you know, the element of beauty as a life fuel. Mm-hmm. And you know, how she's like living life with, you know, that it like the loss of the tooth is devastating to myself as a social being. That my front, the impressions of an expression upon a still point pond. That I'm ignorant, that I'm poor, that I don't know better than to take care of myself, that I'm an eyesore, that I'm shame, you know, I'm walking, talking shame on wheels, and, you know, and yet I walk around and, you know, seem to take up space and volume. I'm kind of large size and liberated. I was like, who do you think you are? You know, who do you think you are? And then I thought, well, why, you know, would it have been, could I have seen her beauty as a top model? Did she see her beauty as a top model? Like, did she? Because anything, you know, you could be fierce and have balls of thunder and lightning. It's pro and con. There's use and misuse. Mm. But beauty also has pros and cons. You know, there's discrimination against beautiful beings, like, you know, that is pro and con. Well, shallow and dumb. Shallow and dumb. And, you know, don't sign up for a spiritual teaching, by the way. It's like, we won't have it. And all these things, right, that's the Play-Doh, and it's shuffling, like the grooming, you know, the energetic grooming to cleanse and to purge myself of anti-spiritual lice. But first I got to admit, you know, I got to admit, my jealousy, my envy lets me know where I'm hungry. First, I need to reside. I want to reside and be able to wrap my arms around envy, or else it will limit me in who I can access, who I can regard, who I can be open-faced and open-hearted towards, who I can love, who I can very love, like who I can be open and allowing towards, who I can have a good wish towards. First I gotta look at why I want to curse that mofo. It's like, first I gotta know, why. I wonder why, 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 I wonder. Wonderful, full of wonder, wanderlust, lust of wonder. To enter the kingdom, be like a child. Oh, Christ. So last week he gave me, so yeah, I hobnob with Christ all the time. So being with Pan, but Christ comes with all these PR men. And how does that really infiltrate our relationship? You know, that is both unadulterated and adulterated, you know. But Pan is more, you know, he's not he's not the property of popular culture per se. He's not. So much, you know, more of a clearing field. And so, yeah, that creates contrast, you know, so I can get back to my shining star. But when I'm with Pan, do I preference Christ? Love the one you're with. Get it while you can. Get it while you can. So last week was I was saying to myself and anyone who would listen, I know why the cage bird, you know, becomes a serial killer. Frustration. But when Christ entered into, you know, to create this communion, this communication. I don't like to call it channeling, because to me, it's being in relations. You know, it's a relationship. It's not about information, because here we value the intellectual property, like information, incoming light. Incoming light. But it's, where is it coming from? The pulsation into the waves of my heart. That the information and the central core want to be holding hands in unison, integral, the integral self, so yeah, I know why the cage bird sings. So okay, he wants me to like, he's my teacher, he's my guru. So I know why he says, greetings, James, greetings, Kayla. Oh, you'll always be my baby. Love you forever, love you for always. You'll always be my baby. And how honored he is to be called, you know, into earthly relations, earthly business. Business and commerce, like, you know, Somatic workshop. Like moving through awareness, spontaneity, using the Tetrs seed, the gold by Lawrence Gold. And he says, how is it the bird is kept in tiny apartments, smaller rooms yet, in confined cages. A bird, its very nature is to fly. You know, taken from one setting to another. And I'm thinking, I'm so glad he didn't go with the pumping up the, you know, God is at the duck pond spiel. I live in the city core. It's like, which I love. So I'm so glad he didn't, you know, come out with the God is at the duck pond spiel. Guess I'll have to do a lot of driving. But how is it the bird, and you know, sometimes it's kept in a busy storefront windows with its wings clipped. How is it the bird maintains its homeostasis, its fierceness, its will to be in relationships, its will to act, you know, to interact, to play, to sing, and with some birds even to dance. So then he motions us to remote viewing, you know, to feelize yourself, like become aware of yourself in this chair, in this room, feet on floor, calves dangling. Am I giving way to the floor, or am I like controlling? How is my butt and thighs residing? How are they gracing, you know, the seat? And to see the soul, the larger energy of which I am comprised of, also viewing me in this chair, in this room. Aha! So got the connection. I could stay longer and reside here in this connection. And I will, I think I will. So I am not in the body. The body's in me. From the bodily angle, like, I am in the body. Both. Mm. Then to see the cage, to see ourselves as bird. Christ instructs us. See ourselves as bird. Mm. The cage is comprised of cultural norms, expectations, temperature of the day, mood of the news. Politics, school structures. My point of entry as a soul in flight, family of origin, preferences, likes and dislikes, parking ticket, divorce, certificate. So see the cage. So the cage is comprised of like the trappings of failure and the trappings of success and everything in between. Like all the great matter, oh Jesus, the white and dark, cock knocker, the white and dark and all the colors and hues and sounds in between. La la. To the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. And, yeah, so see, I better get this. It might hurt my equipment, actually. Yeah. But see the cage and stay and keep referencing from the bird, the cage, to the soul viewing, the soul viewing. The cage, the conditions, the temporal. Yeah, I may get an absolute hit, a bullseye. Everything will dissolve. I may be left like to get to know you. Yes, I would. Realizing the tension holds throughout the body, and later, to explore those for reasons of expediency. I'll decline that. Like, it's yeah. But the space, like love is space. So the still point, the staff, the spine of the soul that is radiating throughout me and throughout each me. Dogs, cats, bumblebees, viruses, the soul, right? The soul. the temporal, like an expression, an impression of an expression upon an oceanic still point pond. And yeah, there is unconditional, like the soul chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. Then he says, I love you. Like, I love you. I love you when you throw that piece of rubbish upon upon a paved path in city parks. I love you when you rise to the challenge and you get your solid gold prize. I love you when you look in the mirror and you just know that you're a charming rascal and all your body cells are dancing, lyrical, in self-adoration. I love you when they throw great seed tomatoes at you. I love you when you venomously gossip about them all. I love you when you buy your wife flowers. I love you when you cheat on your husband. I love you in your flow. I love you in your ebb. Like, I love you. Call me, Christ. Call me. Give me a ding. I'll be there. I'll be there to protect you with a non-selfish love that respects you. I'll be there. Call me. Like, it's going on, but it's like in the whole, what is called channeling, it's more deliberate. The union between heaven and earth, the non-physical and the physical. So it's going on. People are getting their downloads in the whole, what is called channeling or psychically awakened. Because psychic is not a finite anything. Like either you are or you aren't. It's a process of awakening. But yeah, I'll be there with the love that respects you and protects you. Okay, now he's prompting me to say, so I kind of, myself and another were kind of like having a bit of a spaghetti western showdown. And, I was feeling revved up and just like, my God's got a bigger dick than his. My God's got a bigger dick than yours. You gonna get it. You're gonna get it. And just kind of processing all this. And so Christ is helping me. And then I was kind of like, back off. Protective, the ego, to protect and maintain. As we moved along, he said, I said, you know what? With those guys that didn't support me, now I'm just going to say, hello, what up, ta, But Christ, they've had enough chances. I'm done. I'm done. Like, I'm just going to love at a distance, let's say. Love at a distance, like, that we frequent the same quarters. But yeah, I was just going to do that. And he goes, well, I want to show you something, Kayla. Like, this isn't going to hurt, and it isn't going to be tricky. I just want to show you something. So for me, I need to let my borders down and allow that viewing. So he shows me from a clip I had been watching. So this one woman is high in the spiritual rankings, and most of her flock is just like kind of like always grappling at the end of her garment, her veil, to touch her, like one touch of your veil. So then he shows me my people are like kind of feisty and not giving me everything I want. And he's like, he just shows me in visuals that he's talking that way. And he goes like, how do you want them? Then he writes, how do you want them, dead or alive? Like, I said, alive. So yeah, I want to show you something. This isn't going to hurt. It isn't going to be tricky. It isn't going to be. And then I was like, yeah, like, I love those guys. Like, they're great. Like, how much fun and how much satiation and interest and contrast have we cultivated. Like, yeah, like, it's cool, I'm good. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, this week, it happened just upon waking up, like, Christ was, like, talking, he's like in waves and spirals and pulsations. Like our first language is vibration. So he's speaking to me vibrationally, which I, translate into words, and each one does. Each one does. Mm. But I seeing like it was, this time there was words and then just moved into a visual. And all these people, like, I guess 7 billion plus, walking up this staircase, this etherical staircase. It's beautiful and kind of linear, though. It's kind of linear. Then it opens up into, like, soul childs. It's like a cylinder, an energetic cylinder that is like a red setting sun. Red setting sun. You say you saw me, my face bursting through the center of a red setting sun. And then there's a galactic, it's like the red setting sun is draped in a galactic dropping backdrop. And people like stretching out and realizing and themselves and being together. It was like a traveling energetic circus, like multicolored and gorgeous, and people just coming more to realize the energetic self and the soul and free together, but each in like their own space, like in the unit, the cubicle of the body, but that not being so deceptive, that not even being a hindrance at all, doesn't mess with the what the omnipresence, all pervasive presence, which we are bound. He says, like in A Course of Love, like forgive life, forgive God, forgive life, whichever. He said, for you are a being of relationship. Like you're in relations to everything. Like every cat, every building, every bumblebee, every tree, every human being, every energy bonding system. Like the synergies and vortexes, every weather. Like forgive. I say I love you when you're getting your squeeze box off, putting your hand into that toxic cookie jar. I love you. Call me puppy, call me. I call him puppy, he calls me puppy. Call me puppy, call me. Chills the body, but not the soul. Hallelujah. River is deep and the river is wide. Milk and honey, there are no sides.